Tonight, a deadly attack on London Bridge. Police call it an act of terror.
I can confirm that this suspect died at the scene.
It's an eerie reminder of another incident just 2 years earlier. On Black Friday, climate actions around the world targeting consumer culture.
I am sorry for our actions.
Halifax's top cop apologizes to the city's black residents. And 3 days after being accused of using the N-word repeatedly, Bill Peters resigns.
Were we aware of any type of these allegations? Categorically, no.
Will it change the way NHL teams vet their coaches? This is The National. One of the most famous bridges in the world became a place of horror and heroism today. A man wearing a fake suicide vest stabbed at least 5 people near London Bridge. 2 of them died, but bystanders tackled him on the bridge and police shot him dead. As Margaret Evans reports, it's not the first attack on a London bridge, not even the second.
Fear on the streets of London again. These pictures of London Bridge captured as people ran from what police are calling a terrorist incident. It began mid-afternoon. The panic on the bridge sparked by what was happening here. Extraordinary video recorded by eyewitnesses. A knife-wielding man apparently wrestled to the ground by members of the public. One man seen carrying a large knife away from the skirmish. Another pinning the man down, pulled away by police before they shot and killed the suspect. Now named as Usman Khan, a 28-year-old convicted on terrorism charges in 2012 and released from prison.
No. Well, yeah, we're still fucking shaking, no?
You're really fearing for your own safety, and I think the major thing was just to get out of the way and get down.
London's Metropolitan Police say they were called to a stabbing incident on the north side of the bridge just before 2 p.m. local time, and that they had confronted the suspect within 5 minutes of that call. It was still too late for some.
2 of those injured in this attack in the London Bridge area have tragically lost their lives.
There was much praise for the Londoners who tried to take the attacker on.
Running towards danger, risking their own personal safety to try and save others. And I want to say thank you to them on behalf of all Londoners, but also because it shows the best of us.
Memories of the 2 terrorist attacks on London bridges in 2017 are still raw here. 12 people killed at the time. With the suspect now named, investigators are working to see whether anyone else was involved. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Now tonight, more details came out about the suspect, Usman Khan. That conviction in 2012, it was for plotting to blow up the London Stock Exchange and planning to build a terrorist training camp. Khan was released last year, and there are reports he was ordered to wear an electronic monitoring device. Just hours after that stabbing attack, there was another in the Netherlands, and it happened outside a Hudson's Bay store. Some of the chaos that followed was shared on social media. 3 people were stabbed in a busy shopping area of The Hague. The attacker got away, but tonight, police are saying there's no indication that this was a terrorist attack. And in Winnipeg today, there was a frightening and bizarre incident that could itself have turned deadly. A man hijacked a fire truck in broad daylight, touching off a frantic police chase. Angela Johnston takes us through it.
Definitely, there's a cop running.
Clearly, something was off. An officer racing down the sidewalk, tossing a spike belt into the path of an oncoming fire truck.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
All a frantic attempt to stop the driver behind the wheel.
Someone hijacked.
Police say it began in the city's northeast, that a man stole the truck during a medical call, hit a vehicle, and downed a hydro pole.
I mean, there's sparks flying everywhere.
Mark Reimer was there and says he feels lucky he didn't get hit.
I'm just really confused. I mean, what kind of person does that?
Police say the truck then headed downtown, plowing into this park, swerving near people, and at one point getting stuck near a mall.
Something immediately was not right. I noticed that the front end of the fire truck was a little bit banged up, as well as the sides.
Authorization was given that we would not be aborting this pursuit given the extreme risk to the public. The threat was very real here.
Eventually, police say the truck came to a halt under this bridge.
And you can see some of that extensive damage to the front of the truck and the front right wheel. And then they add that they had to subdue the suspect using a taser.
Fire officials say it's typical to keep trucks running in the winter and are looking into how exactly this one got stolen. Meanwhile, a man is in custody, and police say it's shocking no one was seriously hurt. Angela Johnston, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Well, now to the story that has shaken Canadian hockey all week. Calgary Flames head coach Bill Peters resigned today over accusations he used the N-word multiple times many years ago. But technically, he wasn't fired, and that has some folks thinking the Flames missed a big opportunity here. Devin Haru explains.
Flames general manager Brad Treliving got straight to the point.
This morning I received a letter of resignation from Bill Peters, which I accepted.
It's the news the hockey world had been waiting for.
It's been a difficult time, but we are going to move forward.
At Flames practice this morning, the team tried to keep things light with their new head coach now at the helm.
You want the guys to be able to come to the rink and just feel good about being at the rink and feeling good about preparing to play hockey.
But make no mistake, the last few days have taken its toll on this team.
It's a really tough situation. Obviously, Billy's not going to be our coach anymore because of it, and we as players have to find a way to move on.
I mean, we got to come together as a team here. It's sometimes adversity and stuff that goes on. I mean, it's got to bring you closer together.
So the team is moving on, but for some like former NHLer Georges Larocque, not firing Peters is a missed opportunity.
The result of it is okay, but the way it was done, the guy, I just think he got away really easy.
Today's resignation by Peters, says a legal expert, all came down to money and optics.
The Flames realized they had to pay Bill Peters. So this is typical. Behind the scenes, Bill Peters and the Flames hammered out an agreement, and I believe the two key components were Bill Peters gets to resign rather than be fired, which is better, and he gets a payout.
Okay, thank you.
The Flames say they're done investigating Peters' racist remarks, but the NHL is not. It will meet with the former player who set this all in motion. Hakeem Alou will speak to the league in the coming days. Devin Haru, CBC News, Toronto.
So Peters is gone, but one thing we still don't know is whether the Flames knew about the allegations when they first hired him. So how does the vetting process work for these top-level jobs? Jonathan Gatehouse takes a look.
Bill Peters was the only candidate the Calgary Flames interviewed for the job last year.
Did you talk to anybody else?
No, I was focused on Bill.
The entire process took less than a week. But some think this week's revelations show it's time for the NHL, now a $4.5 billion US a year business, to embrace modern HR practices.
There's soul searching going on, and I guarantee you it will change the process when you're vetting a head coach.
Doug McLean, a former coach and GM, says the vetting process is all driven by the need to avoid tipping off rivals or the media.
Talking to people who have played for them, who have worked with them, organizations they had been with, what they thought of them at the whole time, and the biggest challenge is keeping this confidential.
But those old ways don't account for new risks, where past transgressions can resurface any place, any time.
There's several aspects to vetting a candidate. There's third-party referencing that's done.
Recruiter Jed Hughes has helped select dozens of coaches and executives for the NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA, and was part of the team that vetted Masai Ujiri before he became Raptors GM.
We want to make sure when the owner introduces his new coach that somebody doesn't come up and say all of a sudden, well, what about this? I mean, we don't want one of those aha moments that all of a sudden is an embarrassment.
Today it was Calgary's GM that was living that executive nightmare.
How does this change vetting of coaches?
No matter how difficult the situation you go through, I think anything you have to learn from it. There's lessons to be learned here.
An indication, perhaps, of changes to come, or at least a reminder that those who rush to build a winner sometimes risk losing big. Jonathan Gatehouse, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, on this Friday, a familiar scene, thousands marching in cities around the world demanding action on climate change. But of course, this isn't just any Friday. It's Black Friday, a day where consumers consume. And that helped protesters give their actions a new twist. Thomas Daigle explains.
Giving new meaning to Black Friday door crashers, students burst onto the scene at this Halifax mall. For shoppers, it was more than they bargained for, an earful about the environmental impact of overbuying.
We don't have to take this. We can change how we do things to make it better.
The time is now. We don't have tomorrow.
In Toronto, hundreds rallied outside the legislature, again skipping school to stand up for their future. Robert Jarvie still managed some last-minute studying, worried about his afternoon chemistry exam.
But I'm also more worried about my future, so it's a solid balance here.
Demonstrators planned climate change protests in more than 150 countries. In the U.S., the Extinction Rebellion group acted like zombies, showing everyone their empty shopping carts, while in India, they took symbolic precautions against air pollution.
We've seen our environment go from bad to worse, and this Delhi smog was just the beginning of it.
Spain got the Greenpeace treatment. Starting Monday, Madrid plays host to a UN climate change conference, and the stakes are higher than ever. Activists here and abroad are demanding urgent action, as a report this week warns the world's on track to heat up by 3.2 degrees in less than a century, and that could mean disaster.
More than anything, it's important for the people to show that this is an issue so that politicians and corporations can understand that this is a value of ours that we hold as a nation, as a globe, as a people.
At that mall in Halifax, demonstrators simply played dead, an eerie reminder of the environmental catastrophe they fear. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, despite environmental concerns, Black Friday has become much more than just a borrowed trend from south of the border. According to a recent survey, 43% of Canadians plan to shop today. That's up from 40% last year. Compare that to those who are planning to shop on Boxing Day, 34% of Canadians. And as more people turn to Black Friday for deals, how they go about it is changing too. Greg Rasmussen dove into the ways Canadians are spending their money.
Enthusiasm was high, but the lineups were thin at this Vancouver electronics store.
It's $100 off, and then there's consoles, PS4 and Xbox as well.
A big change from the past, when Black Friday meant near riots. While in-store brawling is on the decline, retailers face other troubles. For example, showrooming, where people test things out at the local store but spend their money elsewhere.
55% of Canadians now admit that they have showroomed, that they have gone in and tested something out in a small independent and then gone on to buy it at the big box store or online.
Showrooming has been a hard hit for some store owners.
This is one of Vancouver's busiest shopping neighborhoods, but on this block alone, several stores are closed. Clothing, footwear, jewelry, housewares, all gone.
This Vancouver shop owner sees people showrooming for hard-to-fit items such as jeans.
They'll take a picture of the tag to say so they can remember it, because they have to think about it before they come back and make the purchase. But they're very well going home to order it online.
The new reality is most consumers do a mix of online and real-world shopping.
I still like human contact and getting out and seeing what I'm buying, but there are some things that you just have to buy online now. It's just easier.
If I'm looking for something really specific that's going to be difficult to find in stores, it's easier to search for it online.
I might shop online a bit more. I hate to say that. I don't think of myself that way.
Shoppers reinventing themselves, as are the businesses that serve them. Greg Rasmussen, CBC News, Vancouver.
We have failed you. That was the message today from the Halifax Regional Chief of Police, referring to decades of police discrimination against Black residents, something first exposed by a CBC investigation. Now, in 2017, CBC looked into Halifax police street checks and found Black people were far more likely than white people to be stopped for suspicious activity. That led to a criminologist review, revealing a stark truth. Over a 10-year period, compared to white people, Black people were street checked 6 times more often. That's racial profiling. Tom Murphy shows us what Halifax police plan to do about it.
They are the words so many have waited so long to hear.
I am sorry for our actions that have caused you pain. I am sorry for all the times that you were mistreated, victimized, and re-victimized.
An apology for the practice of street checks in a city that has struggled with race relations after the review earlier this year showed Black people were street checked at a rate 6 times higher than white people in Halifax. A former Nova Scotia judge found the practice illegal, and after a public outcry, the provincial government recently announced it was permanently banning it. So today, a historic pledge to do better.
Street checks are only one element of the larger issue. I know it will take hard work to get to where we need to be.
There are plans to improve training for officers, a public awareness campaign to let people know what their rights are when they're stopped by police, and a recruitment drive to hire more Black officers. But will it be enough?
Will this day be a turning point in race relations and a new relationship with the Halifax Police Department, the African Nova Scotian community, and people of African descent?
It's so easy to say, after 540 years, I'm sorry, and lack substance. We've heard these things before.
So the real question is, will the Chief of Police and will the province of Nova Scotia work with us on these issues?
Facing the rising sun of a new day.
No one thinks the road ahead will be easy, but the consensus here is that today's apology is moving in the right direction. Tom Murphy, CBC News, Halifax.
And we have more news ahead on The National, including how Vancouver's single-use plastics ban will change your life, from the takeout counter to your local coffee shop to the grocery store, because it's coming to the rest of Canada soon, too. And more in our series on China's power. Tonight, how the influence of Chinese viewers affects what makes it to the big screen here. We're back in 2 minutes. They're cheap, convenient, and they're on their way out in Vancouver. City Council has approved a ban on some single-use plastics. But as Tina Lovegreen tells us, businesses and consumers will pay a price.
Each cup of Joe is precisely measured, perfectly poured. And in about a year, if you order it in a disposable cup, it'll cost you exactly 25 cents more.
That's, yeah, it's steep. It can get steep, for sure.
Vancouver is the first city in Canada to have a fee on disposable cups in an effort to become zero waste.
Starting January 1st, 2020.
And while business owners support the city's goals, there are some challenges ahead.
If we have to order a lot less cups, I guess that's a good thing. That is a good thing. If we have to eat another 25 cents on a to-go cup, that's tough on the business.
The news has owners rejigging their business models because soon a lot of single-use items are going to be banned, starting with foam cups and containers in January. Then say goodbye to all plastic straws. And those takeaway forks and knives, they'll only be available by request. To-go cups will be an extra 25 cents, and the big ban is on plastic bags. By 2021, they'll be completely prohibited, and those paper bags, they'll be an extra 15 cents.
Vancouverites generate 2.5 million paper cups that go to landfill each year. We estimate about 25 to 30 million plastic straws go to landfill.
The rest of Canada could see similar measures. The federal government is also promising a ban on single-use plastics in 2021.
Plastics isn't just a Canadian problem, it's a global problem.
But some say they have a local solution.
Stores like this one are going even a step further. There's no waste or packaging, and even for things like peanut butter, consumers have to bring their own containers.
And the owner says running a grocery store without waste cuts back on expenses.
Businesses pay for all of the garbage and compost and recycling that they produce, so we've saved hundreds of dollars every month.
Some goods may be more expensive.
Oh, that one's got a hole in it.
And this way of shopping definitely requires customers to come prepared.
Once it's switched and everything switches, bingo, it'll be fine.
But you're willing to pay more?
Absolutely.
Going the extra mile for a cleaner future. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
And we're following several other stories tonight, including news of a veteran Conservative MP turning down a job on Andrew Scheer's front bench and voicing his concerns about his party's leader.
It's very clear that voters were unhappy with Justin Trudeau, but we were never able to close the deal with Canadians either. We did not win an election that we should have won.
Ed Fast was a cabinet minister under Stephen Harper, as well as environment critic in the last parliament. His decision delivers yet another blow to Scheer. Investigators have now removed the wreckage of that downed plane in Kingston, Ontario that left 7 people dead. No one survived when that 6-seater went down in a heavily wooded area. The victims were the pilot, his wife, and their 3 children, all from Texas, as well as 2 friends from the Toronto area who'd recently gotten married. Still no word yet on the cause of the crash, but American investigators have joined the effort. And nasty weather continues to hammer large parts of Atlantic Canada. People in Newfoundland and Labrador woke up to heavy winds, snow, and sideways rain. Environment Canada has issued a snowfall warning for large parts of the province and in several parts of the Maritimes, too. In Nova Scotia, thousands of people had a chaotic commute home last night. A heavy blast of winter stranded some people on the road for as long as 5 hours. Okay, next on The National, more in our series exploring China's power.
There is now growing pressure to portray China in an actively positive way.
How its big audiences are changing how Hollywood movies are written. And the national interview, world chess champion turned democracy advocate. What keeps Garry Kasparov up at night? That's ahead. With more than 1 billion potential moviegoers in China, Hollywood has taken note. Increasingly, it's making movies that play well there. Just think of that shark movie, The Meg, from 2018, that portrayed China as a leader in ocean research. But there's a catch. Tonight, as part of a CBC News special series on China's power, Eli Glasner looks at the demands on North American filmmakers.
Whether it's James Bond, Transformers, or Iron Man, you may have noticed an increased Chinese presence in your favorite blockbuster. Why? Just ask the director of Midway.
Without China, this movie would have not happened.
Why?
Because they're huge markets, you know, and you can easily make back your money.
While North American ticket sales have been stagnant, China's movie market is exploding and will eclipse North America by 2020. But the country only lets in about 34 foreign films a year, and censors heavily restrict any films with attacks against authority, supernatural elements, or homosexuality. Last year, scenes involving LGBTQ content were removed from Bohemian Rhapsody for a China release. Censors also restrict any mention of politically taboo topics, such as Tibet or Taiwan. This is the sequel Top Gun Maverick, co-produced by China's Tencent Pictures, which may explain why Tom Cruise's jacket is now missing the flag of Taiwan.
Those are the traditional red lines, but they have expanded. So any portrayal of China as a hostile power, as a threat even, or even as a place where bad things come from.
We're getting out of here. Which is why the zombie film World War Z went from
China's dark
to
Moscow is still dark.
There is now growing pressure to portray China in an actively positive way.
Take the cute, cuddly cartoon Abominable. The China co-production features a map extending China's domain into the international waters of the South China Sea, a provocation that led to the movie being banned in other parts of Asia. How are you? Canadian producer Raymond Massey has seen China flexing its power firsthand. He spent so much time traveling there, he earned the Chinese nickname Old Horse.
That was their honorific for me, and I appreciate it.
But he says after Canada's arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou, his TV and movie deals are grinding to a halt, with film approval now part of the central government.
Xi Jinping pulling the control of public opinion as close as possible. I mean, it's affecting all areas of media.
Before the arrest, China and Canada celebrated a new era of cultural cooperation. Producer Jordan Patterson was there with the previous Minister of Heritage, Melanie Joly, and China's Minister of Culture.
So essentially,
after going through 3 levels of censorship, he's working to get cameras rolling on a $30 million film for Chinese audiences about Canadian doctor Norman Bethune.
We have gone through that for a year and a half, and it's supposed to take 6 months.
Now the project stalled in the Department of Historical Importance.
We have made the change to the script. It's minor, and we will see what happens next.
Like many, Patterson hopes market forces will lead to fewer restrictions, but right now, China's calling the shots.
There's the elephant in the room. What compromises are willing to be made to promote the brand of China?
Compromises forcing filmmakers to choose between their principles and the fastest growing movie market in the world. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
And next on The National, interview, a conversation with a man who gave up so much about a threat to the country he now calls home.
Trump is obedient to Putin.
I asked chess grandmaster turned democracy advocate Garry Kasparov about Donald Trump and why it's not actually Trump himself he fears most.
They've already received subpoenas to appear in Adam Schiff's basement on Thursday. It seems the Democrats are accusing me of being too soft on Turkey.
Well, even when pardoning a turkey, Donald Trump just couldn't resist riffing on impeachment. No surprise, it's on his mind. Adam Schiff, the Democrat who led public hearings into Trump's conduct last week, is compiling his report, which will be used by the House to draft articles of impeachment. But if politics is like a game of chess, Garry Kasparov sees the U.S. president as less a player and more a pawn. Before the impeachment hearings began, I spoke to the former world chess champion turned Kremlin critic about Trump, Vladimir Putin, and the future of democracy itself. And just as he was in competition, in conversation, Kasparov doesn't hold back. Garry Kasparov, for decades, considered the best in chess, pummeling opponents both human and machine, until he finally met his match against IBM's supercomputer Deep Blue. That now infamous loss, emblematic of the rise of artificial intelligence. Still, Kasparov commanded a respect in Russia most could only dream of, until he turned his back on the Putin regime, opting to challenge it directly as opposition leader in 2005.
Tell your leaders that this regime is criminal, is a police state. They arrest people everywhere.
But then those same critics, among whom he counted himself, were rounded up or killed. In 2013, Kasparov fled, but is still a prominent critic of Putin's and a loud proponent of democracy, albeit from the much safer confines of New York. So, what does the former Russian opposition leader and chess grandmaster think about the current political climate in the US and the constant headlines of Russian meddling? Mr. Kasparov, very nice to have this chance to talk to you. Thank you for making the time. I had a chance to speak about that with Garry Kasparov earlier this fall. We started with his thoughts about the man currently occupying the White House. I mean, since 2016, your observations of him in office, what have you learned, do you think, about the type of leader, the type of person he is?
No, I mean, I was opposing Trump even from the early days of primaries. I mean, I could see the potential danger. But unfortunately, I think Trump was inevitable because somehow it was a reaction to this dull politics and also the lack of response to the real problems of average Americans. Trump, just demonstrated that there were so many problems in American politics that were just, sort of pushed aside. Now, I have no doubt that Trump leadership could be a big challenge and eventually damage to U.S. long-term strategic interest. And one of the reasons is I heard what had been said about Trump by Putin and Russian propaganda machine, which Putin has been building in Russia since 2004, 2005, and eventually pushed to America just to accomplish his big goal. So this industry will help Trump, and it did.
And what is Putin's goal? I mean, is it to push the West into a particular policy direction, or is it simply to destabilize for the sake of destabilizing?
Chaos, destabilization. Putin knows that militarily Russia today is a pale shadow of Soviet Union, economically as well. But he has tons of cash, a lot of resources, and he can use them the way he wants. So he, give him credit. I mean, KGB under Putin's leadership did a lot in infiltrating all elements of the free world, business, political, financial communities. And Trump's victory was somehow like a pinnacle of these efforts, that just to have someone in the Oval Office, not in the administration, in the Oval Office, who was openly sympathetic to Putin, and because he envies Putin, he envies Kim Jong-un. Trump wants to run his office the way he ran his business. I mean, with unbound leadership. And Putin is just, even if we set aside all the arguments that Trump had long-standing relations with Russian oligarchs, and some say, with certain justification, that he was and is still an asset of Russians, even if we set this aside. So psychologically, Trump is obedient to Putin.
So just on that point, I mean, there's a part of Winter's Coming, your book, that speaks almost exactly to this. So you write, for at least a decade now, those who defend Putin either have something to gain from it or they are dangerously ignorant. Is Donald Trump one of those things?
Both. He's definitely ignorant, but again, we cannot just throw away all the reports about his relations with Russian oligarchs, the facts that just are making to the surface, that his collapsed real estate empire has been saved at least once by Russian money. And again, forget about Trump. I mean, I don't have to look at Trump. I can look at Putin. I have not met Putin, but I met enough KGB colonels in my life to know exactly how they think and how they act. The way Putin talks about Trump, the way Putin talks to Trump, it shows that he believes that Trump is an asset. I could see it, because he has very little respect and mostly contempt for foreign leaders because he knows that he can buy all of them. But it's different. He talks to Macron, he talks to Merkel, but Trump is just, I mean, he looks at him as, okay, now it's time to share the information.
So what is your worst fear? I mean, what keeps you up at night?
It's the negatives, the positives. There's something good about Trump presidency, because I think it was a wake-up call. And Trump he's aging, he's not highly effective intellectually, he's corrupt. He has so many flaws in his character. Now imagine younger, more effective, not corrupt. I mean, this is with ideological agenda, another Trump coming in. Because Trump demonstrated that even the man with so many flaws could win the presidency. I think it's a warning sign that even the United States, with its political system that has been established over more than 2 centuries, is vulnerable to Trumpism. My fear is not Trump. My fear is Trumpism. My fear is that populism could become a very attractive tool for new Trumps coming from far right or far left, because it worked. And in politics, if it works, somebody else will try to employ it and even to upgrade it. So I think it's very important that we have people, we the people, we have to reconsider how democracy works. I have, it's a glimpse of hope that you can see more and more young people now are interested in politics. So how can we start fixing things? I think it's not just, it's not one-off, it's not a process that could bear fruit tomorrow. So 2020 elections still will be old-fashioned elections, but hopefully we'll see things are changing. Hopefully we'll see, the politics will be reshaping here in Canada as well, because again, maybe we have to start reconsider some basic ideas of representative democracy. Maybe we should offer individuals more opportunities to intervene in the political process in between elections.
Forgive me, because as I listen to you speak, I can't help but think about what you gave up in Russia to champion the cause that has been so passionate to you for so many years. I mean, given your career in chess, I mean, your wealth, your status, you could have lived a very different life.
Yeah,
had you so chosen?
I don't know. It's just they say there are roads that we choose and the roads that chose us. So, and I grew up in the atmosphere where we revered Soviet dissidents, and it was a motto: "Do what you must, and so be it." And my mother taught me that a game of chess is not just about winning or losing. Of course, it's about winning, but the most important thing is to make the difference. So you play the game, come up with new ideas. You can always push the horizon. So you create new ideas. You sort of improve the game, just the understanding of the game. And since I left chess, I follow the same rule. It's about making the difference. And I believe that, I could make the difference by helping people to move in the right direction. People say, oh, but you lost the battle in Russia. Look, I knew when I started this fight in 2005, I stopped my professional career in chess and moved into Russian opposition, which still existed at the time, challenging Putin and his regime. I thought I could help my country just to stop sliding back into KGB dictatorship. It didn't work out, but look, today I can look at my kids and say I did what I could. And it ended up, by me leaving my country, settling my life in the United States, which was not my first choice. But I'm a happy man because I believe I did something that was right. And my mother, she's 82, she lives in Moscow. She was really devastated when I left, when I was forced to leave. But she recognized that was only choice, I had to be a free man, I had to continue my fight. And she's happy and proud because, again, I did something that she taught me to fight for from early days.
Mr. Kasparov, thank you so much for taking the time to chat. I appreciate it. And we're back in 2 minutes with stories developing around the world tonight. Plus,
it's a project coming out of Winnipeg about Winnipeg with Winnipeggers. That's a really cool thing to me.
a new way of telling an old story. Ahead. Welcome back. After months of deadly anti-government protests in Iraq, its prime minister says he will resign. Today, at least 21 protesters were shot dead and 90 others were injured in the southern part of the country. The prime minister's resignation follows criticism by a top Shia Muslim cleric. More than 400 people have been killed in protests since the start of October. And another head of state is said to be on the verge of handing in his resignation. Thousands gathered outside the office of Malta's Prime Minister, Joseph Muscat, demanding he step down amid mounting criticism over the investigation into the murder of a journalist who uncovered shady business dealings by the country's politically connected elite in 2017. Muscat's reported decision to step down follows the arrest and questioning of one of his key allies. Two stars of the popular K-pop music group FT Island are going to prison. Today, Jung Jun-young was sentenced to 6 years for sexually assaulting a drunk and unconscious woman with his former bandmate, Choi Jong-hoon. He received a 5-year sentence. The men's defense, that the act was consensual. Okay, more after the break, including tonight's moment.
I think you're beautiful. Thank you.
How a simple compliment can go a long way. One student's pet project, bound to make you smile. And next week, CBC News is going in-depth on vaping. How did it get so popular? What did Health Canada know of its potential risks? And why is it having such an effect on young Canadians? If you have questions, we definitely want to hear from you. Our panel of experts will be ready to answer them. Send them to thenational@cbc.ca. A defining moment in Winnipeg's history is hitting the big screen. Stand, the movie, takes place a century ago when 30,000 workers walked off the job. It was Canada's biggest ever labor strike. But as Cameron McIntosh explains, this is much more than just a history film.
If you go, Stefan Sokolowski, I'll go with you.
It's not the easiest pitch to sell. A romantic period piece set in Winnipeg during the historically significant 1919 general strike. Oh, and by the way, it's a musical.
The novelty of a movie musical about something that's set 100 years ago just makes people either go, phone's not working, or that's really cool.
Against the odds, producer-composer Danny Scher got it made.
We all came to this new land on a promise.
Now, Stand is hitting theaters nationwide.
It isn't illegal to speak one's mind in this country.
The Romeo and Juliet-like tale is the story of Ukrainian immigrant Stefan and his romantic pursuit of his Jewish neighbor, Rebecca. She's an organizer in Winnipeg's boiling labor movement.
Clear those troublemaking foreigners right out of the country.
As returning First World War soldiers, angry at the lack of jobs, turn on immigrants.
Not a cloud in the sky, barely a fight worth the time.
Stefan is portrayed by Winnipeg actor Marshall Williams, best known for appearing in Glee.
It's a project coming out of Winnipeg about Winnipeg with Winnipeggers. That's a really cool thing to me.
Welcome to the revolution.
After turning heads at TIFF, Cineplex is giving it a one-week national run coast to coast. Rare for a Canadian indie film.
It's a film that demonstrates ambition. It allows us to see Canadian history, and perhaps for someone like myself as well, a piece of Canadian history that I was largely unfamiliar with.
100 years on, the general strike is still controversial, though seen by many as a seminal moment for Canadian labor rights.
How difficult was it to take this back to 1919?
not very difficult at all. I mean, if you remove the cars and
Many scenes were shot in locations relevant to the strike, including this street, scene of an actual riot. But Scher and Williams hope people see past the history.
what I hope people get is an eye-opener about our world today, what we're doing and saying in regards to discrimination of immigrants and discrimination of people of color and indigenous people and labor issues.
You got this color skin, and they don't let you in no more.
A look at the present through the lens of Winnipeg's past, opening this weekend. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, Winnipeg.
And when we come back, a high school social experiment with a simple goal to make people smile. I'll tell you about the words behind the initiative next in tonight's moment. These are the faces of some Alberta high school students right after being told out of the blue, "You are beautiful." It was part of an experiment by one of their peers. Olivia Brockhoff had seen something similar done online and decided to surprise her schoolmates to show the power of positive words, and that is our moment.
You're beautiful.
Olivia, stop. Oh, thank you. A compliment goes a long way. I
I was kind of nervous. I was really nervous to tell them the truth. Here, I'm putting myself out there.
I think you're beautiful.
Thank you. People felt uncomfortable just because it was coming from somebody maybe they don't talk to as much. Some were speechless, some had no idea what to say. Others cried, and it was unbelievable.
Thank you.
I got emotional. I definitely had a few tears and I couldn't stop smiling. Media and people are so negative all the time, and they bring themselves down when they need to know they are enough, they are worthy, they are incredible. Tell them something that will lift them up and make them feel good about themselves.
You're beautiful.
I am beautiful.
I'm thinking about how she said she was nervous at the outset of that. And it's true, right? I mean, as jarring as it can be to receive a compliment, it can also kind of be daunting to give an honest one, but maybe something that we should all be doing a little more often. That's The National for this Friday, November 29th. Good night.